Council activity briefings, Wednesday 28th of January. Two apologies, Councillor Everest and Councillor Wilson. Everybody else is here. Welcome councillors, staff. First up is Gordon with Information Systems. Hi Gordon, anything to add to your report?
Good morning. No, nothing to add. I'll take any questions.
Is that mic working?
Right. Yeah. Good morning. Happy to take any questions.
Questions, councillors? I'll kick things off. The elderly person's housing process improvements. Can you give us a wee bit more detail about that, Gordon?
It's literally just a bit of a refresh of what existing to support the business on there. I don't know the exact details of the change, but I can find those out and report those back.
Thank you. Councillor Todd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Probably just a dumb question, but just from a learning experience. Cyber security, if you have good systems in place, how do some organisations get hacked? If you look at the health system at the moment, like if you've got barriers in place in the whole 9 yards, how do some of these things happen? Just a general comment, really.
Through the chair, we probably don't have time to go through that. The simplest thing is that there is no 100% secure system. It just doesn't exist. You know, an analogy would be your home, unless there are, no matter what you do, determined people will unfortunately get in. And it is a little bit of a cat and mouse game, a race, I guess, between those who supply products, solutions, in making it as secure as possible, versus those who, some see it as a challenge just to be able to break in, and it's just constant, and others, do it. There are also elements, it's not purely a technical thing. Technology has a component in it, us, and we're not flawless. So people make mistakes, and again, that allows for opportunity for people who want to make advantage or take advantage in unsolicited ways.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Morning, Gordon. The community facility booking system's now up and running. Any, little glitches or anything with it being so new and many people used it yet? Do you know?
Through the chair, it is up and running. It is being used. I don't know the exact details. I do know anecdotally that one of the first bookings that went on there was the roadside, vendor bookings. That has seemed to have hit a mark, which is really good. And again, I can bring back some stats next time around the number of bookings for you. The only glitch that we had on there, and to be honest, was just a setup issue around, for a few days, we were unable to process visa payments. That was now resolved with the vendors.
So that roadside booking, is that like that domain lay-by areas? People can book a spot there to sell their produce or whatever it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Amish?
I wonder too, Councillor, you may wish to repeat that question for Amanda when she's in customer service, because we have heard internally that the system has been very well received by her team in terms of the calls and the inquiries they are getting. So she may be able to shed some additional light on the issue as well.
Great. Any further questions? All good, thanks, Gordon. Up next, it's property and Cheryl. anything further to add to your report?
Oh, sorry, no, thank you.
Questions? Councillor Todd.
Thank you. I just see that the annual landing fees is now 30 people involved. What's the total number that could be? Like, are they mainly area club members, or do we have people from out of the district who actually pay?
I believe we do have people from out of the district, but I'd have to confirm that and come back to you. Sorry, I don't have that exact detail.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi, just a couple of questions. One about the business estate. Is that marketing done in-house, or who does that?
So the original YouTube video was done by a summer student property head a few years ago, and he was a very clever young man. So and then I'll work with comms to get it updated too. So we may have external doing the drone flights, but the content will be prepared by comms and property.
Will the actual strategy be looked at again, or with marketing that? Do you know?
I think we have had inquiry from the YouTube video, so it was the intention to update it, probably look at including the Fairfield Rail Hub, so because that, although it's not council, it does benefit businesses in the, potentially looking to go out there, and to get some more testimonials from some of the newer businesses out there that have had success, especially some of the businesses that have come from out of the district, and the success that they've had with moving to the district.
Great. As far as the elderly person's housing goes, you've got some people on the waiting list. Just wondering, is there an average time that people spend on the waiting list, do you know, approximately, or is that unpredictable?
It's unpredictable, so the waiting list has gone down slightly because Karen's, contacted tenants that have been on for a while and they've found accommodation or they've moved out of the district. So it's a bit of a moving, and the nature of the. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. My question related to the old Polytech demolition. Can I talk about that?
Yep.
The budget's 1.5 million to remove that and reinstate and do a sort of a gravel basic car park. Is it going to go over budget with the finding of the extra asbestos under the ground?
So we were aware that there could be a potential issue with additional asbestos because we couldn't access the boiler. So where the boiler had been concreted in and encased in the building. So we did have contingency to, if we did find a problem. So we're confident that we won't go over budget, and we will remediate.
So can I ask an additional question?
Sure.
Are you confident you won't go over 1.56 million?
We won't go over 1.56 million, just. So the 1.56 million was the original budget if we did a sealed car park. So we're expecting that the cost will be around 850,000 to
The demolition and the rough gravel shingle.
and the rough.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So is the asbestos pipes, are they under the ground? Like,
Yes.
can't we just squash them down with a bulldozer? Put the seal on and like not touch them is my point.
I did inquire about whether we could concrete in the boiler, but we're prolonging if we want to develop the site or whatever the future is, it's going to be a problem for someone to deal with, and there's now is the best time to deal with it. Because if we wanted to develop, we would have to remove the pipe. So, yeah.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Just going back to the business estate, when did we last establish a value on the sections there? Because it used to, I think, come to council and then we gave staff authority to sell at a certain level and so on, but I just haven't recalled talking about it for a long time.
The last increase was 2020. 2020 was a time when interest rates were great. So we haven't had the inquiry, I guess, off the back of interest rates increasing. So we haven't thought that it is relevant to increase when we're not getting inquiry.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Nope, we're all good. Thank you. Next up, it's finance and hi, Erin.
Good morning, everyone.
Anything further to add for you?
Just in the fleet space, the prior mayor's car has been collected today to go to auction, and there is one remaining Corolla at Turners that's getting auctioned again this week.
Okay, thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Just with Turners now, because they've sort of changed away from their old format of being a large auction rooms to being a large car yard now that does auctions on the side almost. Are we still achieving the same results we used to achieve with the sale of the vehicles and getting the good prices we used to get and those sorts of things?
Currently, that seems to be the case. Yep, I haven't seen any change in that at this stage.
Any further questions? Thanks, Erin. Up next, solid waste management, Hernando and Chrissy at the top table. And Neil. Morning, team. Anything to add to your report?
And nothing to add.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Maxwell.
Just one quick question, just out of interest. The Methven Recycling Centre, I see it's traditionally fairly high numbers. Has it always been that way?
It's always been that way.
Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Were there any issues through the Christmas period, with people fly tipping, trying to get rid of rubbish they accumulated over Christmas and sorts of things, or were we pretty good?
Yeah, through the chair. We haven't had experience in Christmas, but we're expecting something in January, February, when we see a sort of unwanted gifts being brought into the recycling facility. So we're expecting maybe this month we will have something.
One from me, Hernando. The contract for the closed landfill slope remediation awarded to Grant Hood, 10% of the work's been completed. Is that it's ahead of schedule, and was that broken up into, was that not just one contract? Can you explain what's happened there?
Through the chair. The contract is just one contract, but it's a 5-year contract because we cannot afford the contract to be done in one stage. So in the LTP, we have allocated that the cost will be spread over 5 years. But what we have agreed with Grant Hood is they're going to do the work in one whole 2 years, but they're going to wait for it to be paid in the next 5 years, which is very, very good for them. The work had stopped for the meantime because we're waiting for the soil at the back of the A network to be used as capping for the area, and at this stage we're still securing the necessary consents and planning approvals for that soil to be used.
Okay, Neil.
Yeah, if I can just elaborate. So the budget we had for that stabilisation was higher than what the price came in from Grant Hood, so it was very favourable. So what we've done is we can actually do the work in less years. So I think it works out to be 2 or 3 years, and we'll just spend what we've got available in those years' budget, but it'll be, I think, 3 years instead of 5 years.
So this has been going for a wee while, and we're only 10% of the work completed. Was that first 10% quite
Started this year.
sort of elaborate or hard?
Yeah, through the chair. It only started this year. The previous phase was done by Fulton Hogan. That was phase 1. And then phase 2 to phase 5 is awarded to Grant Hood, and they have only done the first 10%.
Okay, great, thanks. Liz.
Thank you. The waste education on page 17, have Eco Educate always been involved in water conservation? It's the first time I'd seen that. And do we use them enough regarding water conservation?
Through the chair, yes, it's always been part of their contract.
Yeah.
And they undertake water education in school, in the kindies and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
So stock water operations. Oh, Russell, sorry.
So just with, a big year for waste management, change of contract and things, all that's on track and the transition period is starting to happen smoothly and all those sorts of things to keep us assured.
Through the chair. There's quite a good coordination between the current contractor and Wasteco. Wasteco is going to assign their project manager to now start working at the resource recovery with EnviroNZ starting next month, just in preparation for so that we'll have a good transition by September.
And to add to that, that the conversations with EnviroNZ staff will be starting soon, and they'll be looking at employing staff if they are interested.
Great, so stock water operations, and we can take questions on the exit transition as well. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. I'm just looking at the future works at the moment. If I go into Stockwood, I think you're having a meeting with ECAN on Mount Harding Stream. It's got the.
That's correct. We're working on setting up a meeting.
Will Richard be included in that meeting?
Yeah, we could perhaps look at that. Yes.
I think that would be good.
Yes.
Or myself, but preferably,
Yep.
Richard more. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
He's a chair. Thank you.
Liz.
Yeah, thank you. On the stock water exit as well, so the heads of agreement has been signed and looking at alternate providers. So everyone on that stock water scheme will have some sort of stock water, because I know we've a couple of us have received some emails from concerned users that they won't have any water come September, and I'm just making sure that there's been enough communication with them, and we know that they definitely will have water for their stock.
So John wrote, Melius is actually working closely with BCI and Spaxton at the moment, and also in-house staff, because some of them we believe will be able to tap into the Methven water supply. They're already getting water from there. So that work is all happening at the moment, and John's having a lot of discussions on Council's behalf.
Oh, good, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Thanks, Chrissy. Up next, roads and footpaths. Morning, Mark. Anything further to your report?
Just to cover with the wet weather that we've had over this lovely summer. A few issues on unsealed roads are more like winter, autumn ones rather than summer ones. So there's a few potholes and things like that which the contractors have to work on. So a bit of weed growth around that normally dies off, but it's carrying on now. So that was one thing. The other thing, just the budgets. We've had some extra funding approved by NZTA, but I just want to, we've got unsubsidised funding there for some of that work as well. So it's just our budgets don't quite line up with what the NCTA approved, but we'll be managing what we spend for the rest of the year to match what our council budgets are and things like that. So just take a bit of work just to manage that, take advantage of extra money that we get, but make sure we're not overspending as well. So, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. G'day, Mark. Happy New Year. I've gone into the Future Works program and onto the map, if you like. What is the big black circle at Oak Grove rehabilitation? What's wrong with that roundabout there at Oak Grove?
That's what, the funding that was just extra funding we've had approved for rehab. So it's the pavement on that is, and it's old, lot of cracks in it, a couple of trenches going through it and things like that. So just renewing that.
It wasn't done that long ago, was there? And then I think some heavy maintenance. Is there any heavy maintenance? Is any work down Oak Grove as well?
No, it's just at the roundabout itself to redo that intersection. We were planning on doing it a couple of years ago, but just didn't have the money for it. It's similar to the work we did at the Chalmers Ave roundabouts 2 years ago, just milling it out and redoing it and sort of renewing all that seal there.
And can I ask one more question? With regards to the pedestrian bridge, the historic pedestrian bridge, I guess the repairs have been done since the accident, well, the car's removed, so I presume. Are they in keeping with the repairs done and keep to reflect the historic nature of the bridge? Like, were they of the same character?
Well, there hasn't been any repairs done. There's struts in place to hold it in place, but that'll be part of the contract. So that's been added into the contract when we do it. So we'll find out the cost of and how that all's done.
And that will be under insurance, I presume?
No, it's just the cost of the project, yeah.
No, but the car crash, their insurance will pay for the repair of that or not?
We haven't done that, no, we haven't followed through with them. I think in terms of the vehicle owner and what they went through is as much of a penalty for them that us trying to recover the cost of that.
Well, I don't want to penalise them. I'm thinking of the insurance company. I'm not thinking. I don't want. Obviously, if the person was unwell or whatever caused it. Yeah. We don't want to prolong the trauma. But I'm thinking about the insurance company or that's.
We're not getting insurance, a payment from the insurance company. No.
Right, and that's on schedule to be repaired this year, the bridge?
That's what the contract is for the tender. So the tender's closed on the 12th of February, so it is for this financial year. So.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you.
Milas.
Thank you. Sorry, this microphone's doing the
I'm keeping
thing
on
again. All good. Just in regard to detours, so when a detour is put in place, is it the closest road around where the road is closed, or is it this sealed road compared to unsealed roads? I was down Thompson's Track the other day, and I know that there's quite a big detour in place, and there's other roads in between, but I just wondered why that was the case.
It kind of depends, but we'd rather not detour traffic from Thompson's Track onto unsealed roads, so try and keep it on the sealed roads. So there's a risk involved with putting traffic for the contractor, because you don't want the risk of traffic going through the site they're working on, but you're transferring the risk onto those local roads and they have to go through intersections and things like that, so you need to have that managed as well. And so it's a case-by-case thing, so it's whatever seemed the most appropriate route and the safest route as much as anything else. So generally unsealed roads we try and avoid, sometimes you can't. So yeah, we've had a couple of people just getting lost on a roadwork site. It wasn't a rehab, it was a dig outs, and they end up heading back towards Ashburton when they're actually heading towards Geraldine. So they got a bit lost and didn't make a right hand turn at the right time. So
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Couple of questions there, right? The Walnut Ave roundabout, it is prone to flooding there as well with heavy rain. Is that going to be looked at the same time as the sealing work to try and solve two problems at once?
It'd be nice to solve that problem. The problem is it's sort of where the old stock water goes and then the pipe goes across the domain and into the ponds there. So it just is a capacity thing as much as anything else. I don't think we can actually improve that. So without improving everything all downstream.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Just, it'll shorten the life of the works that's there because, as we know, water's the biggest enemy, isn't it, to roading? But
although we've had beam tests done on it, because when you put asphalt on, you want to make sure the pavement's strong enough, it doesn't flex too much, and the readings are really good, apart from the sewer trench that's through there, that we have to do a bit of extra strengthening work. So apart from that, the pavement underneath is actually quite good. It's the seal on the top that's a bit cracked and things like that. So.
Next one. Do NZTA liaise with you? I see they're closing State Highway 1 south of Ashburton and going to redirect traffic onto Maronan Road, and we're going to have every truck in creation going down there for a couple of weeks. Do they talk to you about that and the state of our road and what, that's going to be a lot of traffic on some of our local roads for 2 or 3 weeks. So.
Yes, they do. Yes, and they normally talk, with research, corridor management, things like that. So we don't. We have to give them permission to do it. They don't just do it. But we want to help what's happening on the state highway as well. And if there's actually significant damage, then we can actually recover the cost of NZTA after they pay for that. So we sort of have an inspection before, during, and after, just to make sure. Generally, it's not too many problems. It's normally when they put them on unsealed roads we have a bit more of a problem. So.
Quick one from me, Mark, for Julie. Being a Tynwald West resident, interested in the viaduct, can you confirm that there's still some signage to go up regarding no camper vans, and is there anything else planned for our viaduct?
Yeah, a couple of things, but yes, there's still signage. So this only just decided on the signage last week, really. So we're putting, we've changed the give way to a stop, just to actually hopefully stop everyone, but probably won't. So have a look and think, make a judgment call on whether it's high enough. We've also putting up no camper van signs, and so in advance, but also at the bridge itself, and also cars only signs. So just rather than no camper van, saying cars only, just to try and alert people. So hopefully they'll see that as well. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just heard someone say yesterday a sign warning of a river or something like that. If you can't see the river, then you're probably not going to see the sign. It's probably a similar thing for the underpass, where if you can't see that it's low, then you may not see a sign either. But yeah.
Yes. Councillor Moffat.
On the subject of the Tynwald Viaduct, have you heard back from Google Maps about their redirection at all?
We hardly ever hear back from Google, but we can put lots of feedback in there. One thing we've noticed that it's at the peak times when there's a lot of traffic on the state highway, that's when it diverts it to Malcolm Street as the quickest route. So we're just saying don't direct anyone through there, but we very seldom hear back from them. Yeah, if you do it at off-peak times when there's not a queue on the state highway, traffic won't get directed that way, but it's just when it's busy that they'll put them down there as well. So, yeah.
So I know there's no such thing as a crystal ball, but if these issues continue, is it an option to just make the viaduct cyclist and pedestrians only?
That's always an option, and that would have to be a report that comes to council for it to be and maybe consulted. I don't know, but yeah.
Could I?
It's a big question.
Could I just follow up Mark's accurate answer with a little bit of history? When NZTA did all that work on Malcolm Street in conjunction with the Lagmore Street lights and all the rest of it, the original plan was to have the viaduct left only, and the local community objected vigorously, and in the end NZTA and ourselves went back to leaving it open. So while, and that's why there's so much conjecture perhaps online about what might happen with that, but I think you need to know that historically the local community has been very clear in the feedback that it should stay open. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And just with that, as part of that discussion when Malcolm Street was done, one of the issues was if the viaduct isn't available for traffic, then Compton's Crossing is used, and Kiwi Rail would, just with the stacking links there and things like that, if there's going to be extra traffic going there, would need an upgrade as well. And so that had to be funded by somebody, and no one had any funding for that as well. So that was why there was a bit of a change of heart as well. So it was the community feedback, but also the Compton's Crossing issue as well, even though it's got lights and a barrier, it needed a bit more, I think, in terms of managing traffic there as well.
I've got a note in my diary to contact the campground manager at Tynwald as well to make sure that any campers leaving, going north from that campground are reminded not to go down Malcolm Street too. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I gave a contact to Kiwi Rail as well about Motorhome Association and Rental New Zealand, the organisation that manages all the rental vehicles, just to get a message to them as well. Be good if there was a note in all the motorhomes that are rented just to say what the height of their vehicle is, so they can compare it to the 2.39 that's there. So that'd be quite good as well as the little domes on top of vehicles.
Indeed.
They tend to go missing.
Yes. Councillor Cameron.
Just a quick question. When the team dig out the block drains over the big significant rainfall events, all the debris out of the drains is just dumped on the berm or on the footpath, wherever that would be. Is that not a risk for going back in the drains and causing more work the next time there's a large rainfall event?
They go back and pick it up, or they're supposed to. So,
I mean, that's a very difficult thing to monitor. Is that that's in their contract? That's stated in their contract.
Yeah, and from observation, that's generally what happens. They do go back. So sometimes it's just the initial is getting cleared. Sometimes some locals clear it as well and leave it there as well. It's not necessarily the contractor.
Yeah, maybe.
But but waste go back.
That's part of their contract.
It is part of the full contract. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Gilkison.
Hi Mark. First of all, I just did want to feedback. We had the Methven Community Board and the residents seemed to be pretty happy with the no parking result that we had outside the Methven Care. So thank you for facilitating that and making that happen. And now it's just all eyes on seeing if traffic moves faster, but overall everyone's pretty happy. So that's always good. I did have a question again just on the detours, because it's always a bit of a mystery what's actually happening in there, because you get detoured around, but it does happen every summer. What's happening in there? Is there is it base infrastructure that you're improving, and do you come back each summer and do a different part of that, but even though it seems like the same detour? Like what's happening in there?
For referring to Thompson's Track,
yes, sorry.
Thompson's Track is however many kilometres, 28 kilometres long, and so pretty much the whole length of it has needed rehab work done. So we're doing the worst bits first. Sometimes they're next to each other, so it can be the same detour because it's in the same section of road. So it depends on where the work is to what the detour is. But progressively, in an ideal world, you'll start at one end and go to the finish and do the whole length of it over a period of a few years. We tend to have funding to actually just do the worst bits first, so that's what we do. It's sort of all over the place. But
yeah. So every summer it kind of will, until Thompson's Track is finished.
Yep.
We will just keep getting this as funding allows.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah.
And my last question, is on that same vein, how do we know that the extra funding has an impact? Because there's a lot more funding that's come into the budget, and then how do we know? Because anecdotally, I'm still going to have people telling me that there's too many potholes and things like that. So how do we tangibly know the money's going to the right place?
Well, it certainly makes a difference. If you drive down Thompson's Track, you can see where we've done the rehabs and know where the sections that still need work done. We've never got enough to do all the work we want to do, but the team prioritises on the worst first. So, and then once that's done, then the next worst one, which is just older pavement. So it's just it's a continuous program. We've probably got about, we know in the next 7 to 10 years where we want to do the work, and there's the program is in there. If one deteriorates a bit quick enough, they can be brought forward and things like that. So we're always trying to do the worst ones first, as much as we can. But then we just have to patch the rest of it and do maintenance and reseals just to try and hold them until we can actually afford to do the rehab on them. So it is managed on the worst done first.
Yeah, and the maintenance contract is there, that they never have a day off. There's always something to do.
There's always something to do, yeah.
But until then, everyone just needs to get their CRMs and snaps themselves.
Yeah, and we generally know where the worst ones are anyway, so there aren't many surprises that come in when people report something, so kind of aware of it. But at the moment, with the weather we have, things just turn up that you aren't quite aware of. Pavements deteriorate a bit quicker when it's wet, so yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. The paving up in Methven on the footpaths, does that fall under your department, or is it, because I did go up there over Christmas and it was one of our lovely, beautiful summer's days we were having with rain, and I must admit, walking visitors around there was pretty treacherous. It wasn't the most enjoyable experience I've ever had, and you know, this is the town we're trying to attract people to for tourism, and they almost take their life in their own hands walking around it.
Yes, it is, and it's a very difficult thing to improve once pavers are there, unless we want to spend money on replacing the pavers. It's similar in the CBD here, where people complain about them being slippery when they're wet as well, and I don't think there's any pavers that are, they are fit for footpaths, so they meet all the standards, but when they're wet, and if you've got shoes that aren't rubber soled or something like that, you will find them slippery to walk on, and there's no easy solution. We did have a presentation last week about using rubber for footpaths and in place of asphalt, so rubber added to asphalt and things like that, which has better qualities and things like that. Again, if we want to do that in Methven, there are a lot of pavers there. It's quite near, it'll take quite a significant sum to actually do it, but if we wanted to do it, then we could, whether we want to have pavers that look the way they are, or asphalt, or concrete, or something else. There's always a cost of doing that. Yeah.
Ellis.
Thank you. And just adding on to that, I think Timaru have got the same sort of pavers, so I don't know whether they have those same issues on the slipperiness. I'm guessing they do. Just a question from Phil Everest. He's watching, but is not on Teams. Are we on track to spending our roading budget this year?
If we talk to our finance team, we're on track to spend more than our roading budget, but yes, we'll spend our roading budget, yeah.
Councillor Maxwell.
Just getting back to the Methven issue, some of those pavers' slipperiness could be solved where under the oak trees in particular, that black sticky stuff is on it, because when that is wet, that is like a skating rink. So I don't know if it's a problem in Ashburton that the trees in particular, that black sap causes a problem, but it most certainly does in Methven.
We do a 6-monthly clean of those pavers in there, so there's extra money put aside specifically for that cleaning in the Methven pavers. We also do extra cleaning in the CBD here, so the oak trees at the crossing at Tancred Street and Burnett Street, they cause some problems there as well, so extra cleaning on that. It's interesting that it's sticky sap, it's slippery when it's wet, so yeah.
Councillor Top.
Thank you. I went up to Mount Potts on Sunday for lunch. Do we look after that road up to Mount Potts, do we? How far do we go?
Yep, we go to the end. It does cause some problems as well, particularly if it's wet up there, so yeah.
Okay. Probably needs a bit of a grade at some stage, I think.
Yeah, it does constantly degrade. And holiday periods have been more traffic up there as well, so yeah, there was some work done just before Christmas, but it probably needs some more work now.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Lake Hood, Neil. Anything further?
Just preparation has all been done for Monday's commencement of the scientific study. So all 5 containers will get their products applied on Monday, and the 3 sonic devices have been installed, or the 3rd one's being installed today, ready to be switched on Monday, and then the sort of full-on scientific work and monitoring and recording will begin.
And are we getting updated as that progresses, or are you waiting towards?
Yes, after the first few weeks or so, we'll see how it's going. But I'd like to get Professor Susie Wood to come to council and just provide an update and explanation on what they're doing and what they're finding. I think that would be worth arranging.
Yeah, Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. What's the end point? Is it the reduction in cyanobacterial blooms, or what's the end point of the study?
So the study is to test if there is any product or device that can mitigate the bloom of the cyanobacteria.
Within the container, like the water in the container?
Okay, so yes, the ones in the container, that's correct. So they'll apply the product and be monitoring various measures and analysing it over a 3-month period to see if those products do mitigate the growth or reduce, as well as the sonic as well. So the ultimate aim of the study is to determine if there is a product or device that can mitigate the blooming or the growth of the cyanobacteria.
Is a container, and I haven't been out there to see them, is it a 4-sided,
Yes.
it's 8.
So it's a container that's had the roof and the bottom removed.
So there's no contamination from the water going in or confounding of the data?
No, it's totally enclosed and sitting in the sediment bottom of the canal.
Yeah, that will be, we'll need a real life sort of practice once we get the results from that, won't we? Because that'll be if the water's in the container,
Yeah, well, the issue with it being in the container is probably making it better for cyanobacteria blooming. So it's actually creating a worse
That's right.
situation, which is probably better for us because then you can check if it's
Well,
effective against. Yes.
maybe it depends on how you view that, because it could be worse. So any little impact would make a big significant difference as
Yes.
well. So it's different. What about the water displacement? I suppose five containers all lined up, no water displacement that lifted the water level in the lake or anything like that.
Not at all. No. Yep.
Hamish?
I think a reminder of the history of the trial was with the attention on the bloom last year in particular. We got swamped with from all around the world with potential solutions to minimise the impact of the bloom, and so that's when we reached out through Neil to Susie Wood at Lincoln University. And she has guided, devised and set up the scientific trial of what she believes the 5 most likely best solutions, and now we're trialling them to see whether any of them actually will have effect. If you recall, I think we talked about it at the time, we got a lot of claims made to us from all around the world about the particular solution that company had was going to be just the perfect thing, and it was very hard to judge and gauge the likelihood of any one solution being effective without both the scientific input from Susie, who the acknowledged expert in New Zealand on cyanobacteria, and then trialling them in our lake, as opposed to an example from the high country in Canada or wherever else people were telling us it worked. So that was the background to the trial. We've got to the point now where we had a pre-trial just to see how it might all work, and now the 3-month real trial is about to commence. So very much guided by New Zealand's leading expert on cyanobacteria in a scientific as possible study.
Councillor Moffat.
I know you're not New Zealand's leading expert. We've had a lot of rain, and I'm just wondering how this will affect the actual trial. It has been atypical, really, the last few weeks. And I know it's in the early stages. Is it possible to perhaps next summer, is one summer's testing enough, or will we have to do another summer of trials as well?
I don't believe so, because the indicators that we're getting from our Cyanoflora device is showing that cyanobacteria is present and growing, particularly over the last few weeks. So even though we have noticed there's been a slight drop in the temperature of the lake due to the rain and the cooler weather, the cyanobacteria is definitely growing, and all we need is a few days like this and it'll definitely bloom further. So all signs are there that it's actually blooming ahead of last year. So it'll be ideal for the trial, we believe, because it's definitely present, and Susie has seen it and believes this is really a good time to be doing it.
Councillor Gilson.
My question is, how much are we spending on this? Do we have a budget, and are we on budget?
Yes, so we are within our budget, and the budget we've got this year to undertake this work was carried over from last year. So money that wasn't spent on the original budget from last year, we had savings in engaging with consultants. A lot of the work has been done largely by Tanya and myself. And so the savings from last year were carried over to this year. The only costs for this trial is the supply and the installing of the containers. That's about $12,000. All the time, travelling, testing, everything else related to the trial and the study is all covered by a grant that the university has. It's for water quality in lakes. So
That's
yes.
great, thanks.
Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Biking down the lake the other day, there seems to be a lot more water going into the lake. Is that sort of helping flush anything, or is that keeping things status quo? Or
it certainly does help to bring fresh water in. We have experienced a lot of dirty water with the rain events, so it's not always a good thing when we've had all this heavy rain. We've got to wait for the right conditions for the clear water as well, but we have been making use of as much water and getting in and out. It does definitely help by reducing the temperature. In terms of flushing, it's not like it flushes a pipe with high velocity. It's more water going into the lake and being diverted and circulated. But one must bear in mind that the cyanobacteria is embedded in the sediment, in seed banks, and you can move the water and flush water and reduce the temperature. That largely affects the upper level of the lake. So it'll affect it in a positive way by reducing the temperature with more water coming through. But in terms of the cyanobacteria, it's still there waiting for warm conditions to trigger.
Thanks, Neil. Up next, Compliance and Development Building Services. Michael and Ian. Morning, Michael. Anything further to add to your report? Questions, councillors? Councillor Maxwell.
Just a quick question which you may or may not know. In your consents, and I've just made a wee note by volumes, but it could be somewhere else, do you know what number of consents are coming through that are possibly Airbnb at all?
Through the chair, no. The application is generally just says new dwelling, and we don't know what the final use is.
Any further questions? Off the hook, Michael. Civil Defence and Rick, you stepping in for Jim. Morning, Rick.
Morning, councillors.
Anything further to add to the report?
No, happy to receive questions, thank you.
Thank you. Councillors. Mealis?
Thanks. Have we sent any of our staff up to the North Island to help out with any of the civil defence emergencies up there?
Thank you. Not at this stage, no requests have been made to us at this stage. It's a watching brief.
Any further civil defence? Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Just the question on the Emergency Management Bill number 2, which I wrote this before I actually got down to that part, but I thought I'll ask it anyway. Do you have any concerns with the bill, or are we, I think you're submitting on it, but is there anything specifically that you have concerns about?
Thank you. No concerns. From what I understand, Group welcomes the chance to make submissions, and we're in support of. They support the bill, and we're in support of Group with their submissions. And this does. Sorry,
Mr. C.
Sorry, just to elaborate a little on Rick's answer, the Chief Executive's group that meets for the group's civil defence considered a very detailed submission from Group just on Monday. So while they support the general direction of the bill, there is a lot of commentary in the group's assessment of how it might be improved or where the risks lie in that submission. I could circulate that draft submission just for your interest. It hasn't been approved by the joint committee which the Mayor sits on, and they're considering that in the next week or two. But there's certainly a lot of commentary in there, and there is a fear that there is increased costs to local government associated with that new bill, particularly in and around training and being ready, and particularly in the recovery area. So everyone mucks in when the event's in full swing and then goes back to their day jobs and recovery, and how do you guide communities through that phase back to some sort of normality. So there are implications in the bill for council. Yeah.
Thanks, Hamish. Alcohol licensing, any questions for Rick? And animal control. I had one, Rick, 9 attack complaints but only 2 impounded dogs for December. What constitutes an attack and what happens to the 7 dogs in between?
Thank you, through the chair. So, attack is a difficult one to clarify in a short term, but if we look at breaking of skin, for instance, a full intent attack, as opposed to someone who reports an attack and we find that it's just a rushing, which in itself can be quite serious, but no actual injury, laceration, and so on. So we have an assessment that we make that takes into account the actual injury, if something has been sustained, and what level, and then apply our findings, outcomes, and how we deal with that dog. So many of these can be just a rushing, but it's reported as an attack.
Okay, so the 9 complaints, but only 2 impounded dogs. So the other 7 are sort of just, they're investigated and there's nothing really to see here. So is that sort of the case?
That's correct. And this is where in our annual reports we can then go into more detail on the actual attacks and the outcomes and whether there was hearings, prosecution and so on.
Great, thanks. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. And mine question is following on from Phil's, really. I visited a gentleman yesterday who was attacked whilst he was riding his bike in Argyle Park. The dog was not under effective control. It was in an area that did not... he's been hospitalised for about 6 weeks in his home, but still in hospital. You know, like not in home, but able to move out of the hospital during the day, but is very, very severely affected. The dog was essentially not under effective control. It was in an area where you were not allowed a lead. You don't have to be on a lead in Argyle Park, but not under effective control, because the owner was saying, you know, here Joey, or whatever the dog's name was. The gentleman fell off his bike, really has a very, very severe injury, and wasn't able to chase the dog and find out who the dog owner was or what the dog was. He can describe the dog. What is effective control, and how do we manage, how do we make sure that that's being sort of kept up to a standard? Like the owner was saying, come here, or trying to call the dog away, but the dog wasn't interested and was charging at the bike,
Thank you. Through the chair. Under effective control is an issue in itself to clarify. Under the Act, the Act was written in the day when it's just literally what under effective control, but it doesn't go into the full details of that. We're hoping to clarify that from our perspective in the next bylaw review. There are things like under effective control could be just by way of hand signals, a whistle, obviously verbal control, but it's the distance is in question as to when that's effective. So we're looking at how we can clarify that, for instance. If you have a dog that's behind you, trotting along, but you have full control of it normally, is that under effective control if it suddenly disappears and you don't know it has? So these are all things we look at when we're investigating a complaint of what is under control.
I was called well, I wasn't called, I was invited to talk to this man, and he said he's happy to share his details. So I might take that offline, and perhaps you could discuss the ins and outs with him, and he could give his feedback. I don't think he's in a position to be able to come and submit on that, but I think that would be he's been very severely impacted, like life-changing. Yeah.
Hamish?
Could I ask, has he already let us know of that incident?
Not to my knowledge, because he hasn't been.
Julie, if you can just hop offline for a second.
Because he hasn't been in a position to do that. He's been hospital. He's still in hospital essentially.
No, I understand. We in
And it
some
was-
fashion, however, we can do that given the circumstances that he's in. We need to understand that incident and then follow it through to the best of our
I think
ability
that
with
would
the
be good
information
because
we
it's
have.
sort of.
But without knowing that it happened.
And I don't think it was a situation where he was on the bike and the dog, as I understand it, charged at the wheels or the pedals or something. You know, like dogs follow cars if you go up a farm track, or that type of thing. But the dog was not under protective control because the owner was shouting at it to come here.
I understand, but until we know about it and start investigating,
I don't know. I did ask that of you. I don't think he has let the council know because he didn't have any details to give. But I will talk to you about that. I'll talk to Ian about that.
Thank you.
Councillor Moffat.
On to the barking dogs, I see there are 16 complaints. I'm just wondering if you get the same complainers, multiple complaints from them, or is it often a one-off barking complaint?
Thank you, through the chair. It's actually a combination. We can have a situation where the initial complainant hears the dog, can pinpoint where it's coming from, but wind, sound, time of night, it could be in a different location. So it can be difficult to follow up for an individual, but where multiple complaints come in, we're able to pinpoint.
About the same dog?
Yeah. And
does that happen very often?
I wouldn't say very often, but it does happen where we can actually use other complaints to pinpoint the location of the dog, and then we send out barking log sheets to each of those residents, so we can, and to the owner of the dog itself, so we can try and bring in as much information about occurrences and try and say, yes, that is that dog, or no, it's a different dog in the area.
And if the dog is distressed in some way, it's beyond just an annoying thing for neighbours, what will then happen?
Thank you again through the chair. There are two approaches to this. If we get a call out for a dog barking, it will be acted upon and not waited on, because it could be that the dog's caught up in its own collar. So we have that approach for that. If it's an animal that's distressed because of its surroundings, we can work hand in hand with SPCA on a further investigation.
How long does that process normally take? Because I know SPCA, they're very stretched these days.
Absolutely, I take that point on. And when we say we work with them, it's a reported incident, but we can do some more initial work with the owner about how it's being kept. Is it being kept on a kennel and chain, for instance, and just left for that? So we can try and work with the owners while we're also working with SPCA. We don't just pass it on to them.
Thank you.
Councillor Gilkison.
Hello, Rick. Just looking at animal control, you've got a lot about dogs. Is there anything to note about other animals that you've noticed? Anything, just in general?
Thank you. Going through the chair. In terms of other animals, we will get nuisance complaints about various animals and investigate those. It could just be from a wandering stock point of view, or poultry keeping, or pig farming, and so on. So these will be investigated and could end up, for instance, with pigs and smell nuisance and so on, that could be working with NPI to further investigate. So there can be a crossover of things that we deal with other animals.
And if there's anything of note, will you include it in this?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
if it's out of the ordinary.
That's right, yes. yes.
Okay, thanks.
And anything on food safety for Rick, councillors? Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Up next, planning, Brad. G'day, Brad.
Hi.
Anything further to add to your report?
No, nothing further to add.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I'm just not sure if this is the right place or not, so tell me if it's not. Just under planning, out in the northeast, we've got residential D out there, so we've got a lot of subdivision. It's turning into a pseudo business park, if you like. So many of them now get sold and a business moves in there. Do they need to apply for planning consent to run a business from that environment?
Through the chair, in some cases, yes. It depends on the what the business is, the size of it, what type of operation. For instance, if it was a retail activity, it would definitely need a consent, but there are some home occupation permitted activity standards.
Yeah. So does that then have a flow-on effect to their rates? Because I can see what's it's having an impact on our own business parks, I suppose, the Riverside Estate and the business estate, that this is almost an easier, cheaper option to buy a property that's got a shed, got a house, you live in it and you run your business from the shed. And if I drive out there now, there's all sorts of businesses operating out there.
Yeah, when a resource consent's applied for, if it's something like a commercial activity, that is passed on to the rating team. So then they'll look at it and see whether or not the rating needs to change to the business rates.
And then sometimes we won't even know about them, I assume, either. Yeah. That's the other issue.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be some businesses operating in the district that are probably require consent that we don't know about. But if we receive a complaint from it, it's something that we investigate. Yeah.
Ian, did you have a follow-up at all?
Oh, it was simply, Brad kind of answered the question, but it was that occasionally officers will see a sign appear on a gate or something like that out in particularly in a residential D zone, and we'll do some investigating into it, and if required, we'll ask them for a resource consent or for them to move somewhere more appropriate.
Brad, on the LIM reports, LIM volumes 3.6.2, is like you 1128 for the calendar year 2025, and that broke your record up significantly on the year before. Is the real estate market busier, or are people advised to get LIM reports more these days? Back in the good old day, you used to come to the counter and Penny would scoot away and get you the envelope, and you'd have a squiz through that, and it'd look okay and it'd be fine. Is there a mixture of both, or is the real estate market that good in Canterbury at the moment?
We've always pushed for people to get LIMs before they're purchasing a new property. So I would say there's probably a higher portion of people getting LIMs, but I do think there is also a busier property market. When you look at what's happening with the building consents and the amount of subdivisions we're getting, there is more sections on the market. So, yeah, be a mixture of both, I think.
Good signs. Any further questions for Brad? Thank you, mate. Appreciate your time. Economic development. Hi, Shelley.
Morning.
Anything further?
Nothing further, thanks.
Questions? Councillor Moffat.
Just one, with Live on the Lawn coming up, I'm just wondering what the alcohol situation is there. Are people allowed to bring alcohol, and will there be alcohol on sale under a special licence?
Thank you, through the chair. We'll be having a BYO arrangement this year for the Live on the Lawn, a specified area where the seated people will be able to sit with their alcohol, and it will be a glass ban as well, which will be advertised well in advance. There'll be no sales on site.
Is that usual? Is there usually alcohol allowed?
I don't believe so. This is only the second running of this event,
Okay,
and
right.
there wasn't last year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Thanks for the report and Happy New Year as well. Application, I'm not going to look at the historical events apart from I assume everything went smoothly and there was no problems with them. But the forward events, like Walk and Run Ashburton, what is your role in that? Like it's organised external to the council, isn't it? Like what? And I'm looking at some of the other events like Ashburton College athletic prelims. Is it mainly a consenting role that you do to make sure health and safety regulations are met?
Thank you through the chair. Yes, it's many and varied. We encourage anybody who's running an event on public land to go through our application process, which will determine whether they do need an event permit. At the time of the application, they submit their health and safety, whether or not there will be disruptions to roads or public walkways, etc., etc. And at that time, we can tell whether they require a community event permit or a commercial event permit, and we'll go through that process with them to ensure all of those things are met.
If I had a family picnic and I had a very large family, which I haven't, but let's assume I have 100 members in my family, do I need to let you know about that in advance, or can I just bowl over there and have a family picnic?
Thank you through the chair. Again, we'd encourage you to fill in the form. The short answer is probably not. You're not ticketing the event. It's not being advertised. We had a similar situation recently with an orienteering group wanting to come in with about 60 of their members, and they would just be dispersed through the domain for a couple of hours, not disrupting anybody.
No, just doing their job.
But it's good for us to know that that's happening.
And is the New Brighton Power Boat Club regatta, has that been held on Lake Hood, is it? Or?
I believe that's the plan, yes.
Councillor Ellis. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, these issues arise when people want to use public land. So if you have your picnic on your own back lawn, then we're not involved. No. So the issue is trying to utilise community or public land under the control of the council. That's Yep.
I'll just invite them to my back.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I believe there was a CBD survey done. Was that through you, or so at some stage will we see what that was, and was that part of the revitalisation project, was it, or was that something different?
Thank you through the chair. Yes, in preparation for the feasibility study, we began a CBD survey at the end of last year in an effort to get stakeholder feedback as fast or as quickly as we could prior to the study starting. So we've got some benchmark engagement started. The survey was emailed out to around 350 subscribers pre-Christmas, and since then I've been canvassing the CBD, not all the way through yet, handing out QR codes, trying to rustle up more responses, and that information will then be given to the successful provider to work with.
So when you say subscribers, that's subscribers to Experience Mid-Canterbury, is it, or no?
No, it is a subscriber base that was set up when the CBD beautification project was happening, so anybody didn't have to be business owners, but anybody could subscribe to that. And as I'm going around the businesses, I'm getting more email addresses now to add to that list so that we've got a pure database as well.
So when will we see the outcome of that initial survey?
The survey currently is open till the end of February, which is also the time in which we hope the new provider or the provider will come on board, and we should be able to publish it at that time.
Mealis.
Thank you. The brand campaign, Nowhere, Where's Going? I see you've done, you've got roadside billboards, airport carousels, which I'm guessing are digital. How much did that all cost? Did we get quite a decent deal for that? Because I know you don't have a big overall budget for...
Thank you through the chair. In total, the campaign costs are sitting around 24,000. It includes the delivery.
Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Following on from Meala's, I suppose to a certain extent, so internet promotion that you do, which I'm in favour of because you cover a lot of area with limited money. How do you, I suppose, how do you measure the feedback on that? Like I know with a lot of advertising, it's hard to measure the response, but how do you measure the the feedback from cafes or businesses or whatever, or do you have other ways of measuring feedback from your promotions online?
Thank you, through the chair. Sorry, just to clarify, how do we measure the feedback from the businesses or from the digital campaigns?
How you measure your spend, I suppose. Yeah.
Thank you. We have a couple of different metrics that we use to qualify the success. When it's a digital campaign, I believe that the majority of advertising placement for this campaign led viewers back to our website, to a specific landing page dedicated to this campaign and the offerings. And at the time of writing, I think that was around 12,000 people had landed, and that was only within about a fortnight. I believe that's over 50,000 now, where the campaign has run just over a month. So that's a big metric. When an ad objective is set digitally, it's determined what do we want to get out of that, and that's the success metric that will follow. There's also comments on the posts and on the adverts, it's shares that people send, and people save it to their own computers or profiles. Also, the campaign itself was picked up by a website, a national website called Campaign Brief, which is, for any marketing person, a bit of an amazing place to have your campaign plastered all over. And we were second behind Air New Zealand on their homepage for a few days, explaining our campaign and the benefits of it, and it led people off to our YouTube videos as well. So that was a huge accolade in an informal sense for us to have been recognised that way.
Shelley, a quick one from me before Liz. Grant Guru, I assume that, so we type on the date and it's 2026, January 1st it got underway. That looks awesome. I guess a couple of questions. Is that an annual subscription, and will we just see how that goes over the next 12 months before committing further? And does that also link into council grants and availability?
Yes, thank you. It's currently a 3-year subscription. It's at a reduced rate if you do 3 years. So we're there for 3 years. And yes, it will house all of the council grants that are available as well, and they will come up in just a natural search function.
And have we got an advertising campaign lined up to promote that? Because, I mean, that's a great resource for community groups and what have you, thinking, how do we pay for this going forward?
Yes, agree. I'm working with the comms team currently so that when the ADC grants are confirmed and ready for publishing, a combined launch will happen at the same time, so people are aware of what else they can find.
Nice. Melis?
Yeah, my question was around that Grant Guru, because there has been something in place before, a funding finder that's been able to be used at libraries. Is that correct? So does that replace that, or is it in addition to that?
Yes, thank you, through the chair. It replaces it. The major difference between the two is that the Grant Guru functionality provides grant information locally, nationally and internationally, and it can also be used and searched by a local government for those funds as well.
That sounds good. Another question, we've got the King's Trust Enterprise Workshop next week, I think Wednesday, Thursday. How are the applications going for that?
Thank you, through the chair. Last email I saw there were 17 registrations, and I think there's a capacity of 30, so still trying to drum up a few more attendees if anyone knows anybody, 16 to 30-year-old entrepreneurs. fantastic course.
Thank you.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi, with the CBD feasibility study, you've asked for feedback from the proposal being sent out to 4 providers. So what will your decision be based on when you decide on the provider?
Thank you through the chair. We've disclosed to all of the providers the eligibility, the judging criteria. 50% of that is weighted on value for money, and off the top of my head, the other 5 objectives or criteria had a 10% weighting each on them. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you what they are, but I could send through a copy of all.
Okay, so cost will be a major factor.
Yes.
Okay, any further questions for Shelley? Anything on the pedestrian counters or economic development? Looks like we're a wrap. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
And I think we are time for a wee break, pretty much on schedule. So we will have 10 or 15 minute cup of tea and be back with people and facilities. people and facilities, and while we're waiting for Amanda, we'll get Richard from EA Network Centre to hop up. Thanks for your report. Anything to add, Richard?
Kia ora, good morning. No, nothing further to add to the report.
Questions? Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. I see there's a consultation process happening around the swim team. And I just thought council had made a definitive decision on the outcome of that, but...
No, subject to consultation, we're following that process as we must.
Muellers?
Thank you. That was my question too, because what I saw on our agenda was that it was subject to consultation with affected staff.
We are doing that, and we're doing it with those most affected by the service as well.
Okay. But it's on our website, I think. There was a link to the consultation.
We're just following that comprehensive process to give everyone who's affected an opportunity to have a say.
No, that's all good. Thank you. My question, if that's okay, I went and had a look at the mini golf yesterday. It's been a while since I've had a go. I think just before Christmas. I see the salmon's not looking too bad. Has there been a bit of damage done to the salmon?
Through the chair, there is some remedial work to be done. A little bit of damage to the salmon, and a little bit of timber that was broken as well. But the full remedial works will be done after the school holiday period. We're in dialogue with our contractors all the time on that, and it's being managed under the contract.
Yeah. So the salmon is not made of wood like all the other sort of animals, etc. So will it have to be replaced totally, or can it be?
Through the chair, we haven't decided exactly what we're going to do yet. You're right, it is 3D printed with a resin inside it. The contractors are looking at options for something that could be a little more resilient, given the volume of players and people that are coming through that. We've kind of decided it might need to be a little more robust.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Just over the Christmas period when the pool was closed, and I went down there on a public holiday to take some visitors in and look at the mini golf course, the gates were all locked. There's no thought of getting security to unlock the gates so people can park in that area to play mini golf?
Yeah, through the chair, it's something that we've noted this year with the increase in facilities around the volleyball court, the salmon court, the mini golf, and we'll be taking it into review for our Christmas hours suggestion for next year. We do get a little bit careful around opening the gates and creating a bigger security risk, but yes, definitely something we'll be taking into consideration this year.
Richard, I just had a question around Jessie Thompson dance in the multi-purpose room. That great to see, and a nice addition to what's going on at the Network Centre. Is it a similar sort of charge out rate to what she was paying at Balmoral?
Through the chair, it's a negotiated rate with Jessie that we've worked through with council and with guidance of the exec team. It's probably not my place to speak on what Dance Works were paying or weren't paying at Balmoral Hall, but Jessie is locked in for the next 2 years with us delivering her dance classes.
Great, thank you. Any further questions for Richard? Thank you, mate. Amanda. Oh, sorry, Phil, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did, but it doesn't matter. It's not critical. I'll speak to Richard. It's about presentation, and I'll cover it later.
Thank you. Sorry, mate. Amanda, anything to add?
Good. Hello all. No, nothing to add. We're just trucking along.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Councillor Ellis.
Hello, Amanda. Welcome. The community facilities booking system, is that helping you guys out downstairs and a little bit of feedback? If someone comes in now and says, I want to book one of our halls or something, do you just refer them to that, or do you assist them to do it, or how's it working?
Through the chair, a little bit of both, but the bookable system has been an absolute godsend for our team through the chargeable room bookings that we do. and did. So no, we're very thrilled with that package. And yes, we are guiding people to set up themselves as a user and set up that account, but also we can help with the one-offs. So yeah, we've loved it. Big change.
Councillor Cameron.
The rates rebates, Amanda, that's amazing, the number of rates rebates you've had, which is probably a reflection of the change in the lever for the rebate, but also a reflection of the cost of living, I would imagine.
Yes, through the chair. It has. I wasn't surprised we got to that number by Christmas. I'll be interested to see what happens in the next 6 months to get us to the 30th of June of how many more people we will be able to assist. So it'll be just keeping encouraging people when we talk to them at reception or on the phone. You know, have you thought of this option?
Yeah, good.
So.
Any further questions? All right, thanks for your report, Amanda. Appreciate your time. Up next, it's Library, Te Whare Whakatiri, and welcome Jane. Hi Jane, anything to add to your report?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Questions, councillors? Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Morning. And activities and programs, obviously, when you look at the graph, they're you're ahead of last year and ahead of budget, etc. Are there more? Is there more room for more activity than what you're actually doing? I think I counted 37 different activities that you're actually doing there now, which is amazing. What's your, I suppose, future programs or any further activities or ideas?
Through the chair, yes, we're always looking for new ideas and we've always got new things in the pipeline. Our I guess, future is around partnering with different organisations to bring those programs so that it's not a drain on the resources of the library so much in terms of people and time. So yes, we're always looking for more and we're always looking to do more ways to get the community to engage with the building. Excuse me.
Councillor Moffat.
Hello. The number of books issued appears to be on the up. So are there new members, more members coming in? And are they younger people? Can you give me some clarity on that?
The chair, yes, we do have a few more members and that seems to be growing month on month. So we're very happy with that.
So with the book acquisitions, how often do you buy books and what's your expenditure on books per year if they are becoming more popular?
Through the chair, so our book budget is $174,000 across the whole collection. And we buy them through a contract. So we have a contract with Peter Pell and they provide us with the books. We do some selection ourselves, but they do the bulk of the selection and also the processing of them, which means that we don't have to be fiddling with them when they arrive at the library, so we can actually be out there on the floor doing things.
And compared to books, other items that are issued, what would the comparison be with, videos or that kind of thing?
Through the chair, much smaller. Much smaller. Although we do issue videos and talking books, CDs, and also adult games. Not adult games, but games for adults.
Well, we're about to talk about brothel bylaws. So.
We'll see what happens to your membership now.
So books are still the main attraction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm embarrassed.
It's because you've just joined, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I wonder if I could just follow that comment up around the book purchasing. And Jane, you might like to comment on the piece of work that you're doing with your team around examining the age and the relevance of existing stock as part of having a relevant supply of material for the community on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, certainly, through the chair. So at the moment we're undertaking a project called Project Spring Clean, and basically that means that we look at our collection. We've got some software that helps us do that, look at the collection for relevance, for age, and also for condition. And through that we're actually deselecting or withdrawing stock from the shelves. And what happens with that is, strangely, the less stock and the better it looks on the shelf, the more issues you have. So the more times books go out if actually the books look really good. So that's the whole reason behind that process.
Councillor Everest.
Thanks, Hoops. Hi, Jane. Just a couple of questions. The first one is relating to all of these reports. I was just wondering if it was able to have a different presentation of the graphics rather than be cumulatively run them by month. And it's the same question for Richard Wood, just so we can see what's going on. I guess my question, Joan, really relates to, do we have any way of actually knowing the use of the rooms, the various rooms? I come in the back door there and I come to council meetings, and I mean, over the holidays, that screen activity, whatever you call it, but I mean, there's been a lot of mums and dads and kids working there, but it seems to have very high use. I just wonder if we have any knowledge of how it's actually being used, as well as the number of people coming through the library total. Thank you.
Through the chair, yes, we can look at statistics on how the rooms are being used. Through the new bookable system, we have the ability to get those stats out. But of course, that's only been up and running since early January, so we won't have any sort of useful stats until the end of the month, or possibly through to the end of February. I'm not sure which room you're speaking about. Are you talking about the activities that we run?
Yes, it's the room as you walk through past the old memorial, going out to the back car park, and there's a big screen there with the kids playing golf and all sorts of different things.
So that's the children's library, and that's the,
Yes.
the Nintendo Switch, and that is heavily used, heavily used by families. In fact, when we had our family staying at Christmas time, the kids made me play with them, which I'm embarrassed to say that I lost to a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Councillor Gilkison.
I think we all lose to our 4-year-olds, so don't we? It's not an accident. My question was, does the library provide like an online system where you can get access to ebooks?
Through the chair, yes, we do. We have Hoopla, Libby, and BorrowBox, all of which are online services for books.
Are they used quite a bit? Like, what's the uptake of that?
Yes, it's very good. I can get you particular figures on that, but I don't have them on me right now. Yes, and it's growing.
It looks like it for questions. Jane, thank you for your time and your report. Up next is the Ashburton Art Gallery. Sharon. And museum, of course. Anything to add to your report?
Kia ora koutou, no, nothing more to add.
Thank you. Questions, councillors? Yeah, Liz.
Thank you. Hi, Sharon. The Great Centre Hunt launch night, I said there were 1,000 entry forms picked up. Does 117 mean that there were 117 entry forms handed in, or is that the number of people who came on the actual night?
Thank you, through the chair. So the stats there are for the one night, the evening.
Okay. Yeah.
And through that initial first week, we gathered that through the 3 facilities that were taking part, 1,000 entry forms had been picked up. So this is the final week of the Santa Hunt, so we're waiting to the end of the week, and we'll do a final tally of how many children have actually entered and fully finished the Santa Hunt.
Right, thank you.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi. So there's been a lot of talk around the Rakaya salmon refurbishment being remade and all of that stuff. And I see that as a great opportunity for an exhibition at the gallery. How much prep time would you need to do something like that? And how many sort of work hours would go into putting on something like the history of it? There are quite a few materials that the sculptor still has. So what do you see there?
Thank you. Through the chair, it's a little bit of a tricky question to answer because every exhibition is different and the scope of every exhibition is different. So something like the Rakaya salmon might not be too onerous work-wise, but our exhibition programs are pretty much planned 2 years in advance. So the team are finalising the end of 2027 now, and we'll be starting work on 2028. So there's usually a lag when we have a really good idea or an idea presents itself, unless we have an exhibition in our program that either gets cancelled or delayed for any reason. We typically don't have gaps that we can fill with quick turnaround exhibitions. However, there's lots of scope within the sector to have digital exhibitions or to partner with the library, for instance, and it might be a display type exhibition. So it really depends on the scope and how big we might want to make something. But in terms of hours, it'll be very difficult for me to quantify that because, yeah, every exhibition development is quite different.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Cameron.
Hi, Sharika. Okay. With regards to the merging of the museum and the art gallery in Rokafuria, when did that actually happen? Was that over 12 months ago now? Would be, wouldn't it?
Through the chair, yes, we're nearly 4 years in.
You're joking. When I look at the attendance, it appears that you're tracking really well. So presumably you had the same children's program last year and the year before as this year. Do you think that's due to the type of exhibitions you've got in there at the moment, or what do you think has driven that increase, and can we maintain that?
Thank you. Through the chair. So we do have a baseline of programming that repeats year on year, so our normal public programs that run, but the nuanced or ad hoc ones that we do are related to the exhibitions that are on, and that sometimes influences the engagement with the community. I think in terms of our visitor numbers, it is really encouraging. We are seeing an uplift, and I think that has a lot to do with the extra collaboration we're doing with community organisations and really raising the profile of what the organisation does within the community. So we're seeing a lot of repeat visitation. So something like the Santa Hunt, a family might come along on the original night and then come back again and again and again over the course of the summer, which is really encouraging for us. It's really challenging to determine what motivates people to visit an exhibition over and over again. It could be the content, it could be that our bridal show, for instance, at the moment has a lot of local connection. So people know some of the people that wore their dresses, so they might bring family and friends in. It's really just dependent on the thematic concepts of the exhibitions and some of the programs that we run.
Okay, sure, thank you.
Councillor Everest.
Similar question, but I mean, we've got a 20% increase. Do we know, is there a split between the art gallery and the museum, or are you able to determine that? Because I mean, that seems a very large lift. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair. So we used to report on the art gallery and museum separately, and that's probably reflected in the graphs as well. So now that we've combined the numbers, it's a little that naturally had a bit of an uplift. We've also changed the way that the counting of visitation happens at the facility. It's now fully digital, so there's no human error in the count. So if you imagine when a large group might have walked through the door, we would have had front of house volunteers and staff manually try and count all of that, and now a digital system is capturing all of it. So I think there's a level of accuracy that's now involved in the count as well that's probably seen a bit of an uplift.
Councillor Moffat.
Shireen, sorry, this might have been a question for property actually, but with the air conditioning system getting the go-ahead to be moved, when is the time frame for that? Do you know?
I think that might be a question for property or
Right.
possibly Hamish.
Okay.
Yeah.
How disruptive will that be as well? You might know that.
As far as I'm aware, the hope and the plan is that less disruption is possible, but it will all come down to the final design and the final build. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of information at this stage.
And sorry, Mr. Chairman, I don't have it at my absolute fingertips, but let us take a note of that query and we'll circulate that later today.
Is that it for questions, Julie? Sharon, thank you for your report and your time. Communication and Open Spaces Group. First up, it's comms. Welcome to the top table, Tony, and Janice first up. Hi, Janice.
Kia ora.
Anything to add to your report?
I'd just like to add, if I may, through the chair, that we've had a bit of success with one particular reel that we've done on the salmon, and it's gained over 100,000 views and more than 1,000 likes and lots of positive comments. So just wanted to share that little tidbit with you.
Nice work. Councillor Moffat.
Since you brought it up, how much of that can you tell comes outside the district?
Through the chair, I'm not sure if it breaks it into outside the district, but it can give us a breakdown into whether they're followers of our Facebook page or not. So I can provide that if you're interested.
Any other questions, councillors? Good to go, Janice. Oh, Phil, sorry.
Just a follow-up question on that. Will it be possible to actually be able to break that down into where those users are actually coming from? It's a relevant question in a few sections today. Is it just not possible technically to do that?
Thank you. Through the chair, I'll have another wee look into it. I believe we can do it when we've paid for the advertising. It will give us those stats, but when it's an organic post, I'm not 100% sure, so I'll double check.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Janice. Up next, strategy and policy. Mark. Morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Anything to add to your report?
No, nothing to add at this point.
Questions? Might be a quick visit for you. Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Just on the airport, is there any sort of update on where that workshop and things might be at and timing wise and things?
Yes, so we're probably looking March, April at this point to book that in with you guys. Yep.
That looks like it. Mark. Thank you. Up next, Memorial Halls and Reserve Boards. Welcome, Anne. Hi, Anne. Is there anything you'd like to add to your report? Questions? Councillor Atlas.
Comment more than a question. The floor in the Timwald Hall from the photo sent through looks magnificent. So, yeah, when are they able to start moving back in there, do we know, or does it still need a bit more curing time?
I drove past yesterday and Campbell Flooring was still there, so I'm assuming he'll be there till the end of the week. And then I think we are looking at nearly the last weekend in February, or that week.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi. I think last time we were told that you'd chase up on any boards that we hadn't heard back from for their meetings. Any progress on that at all?
No. That is on the list of things to do this week. There's 5, I think, that we're still waiting to hear back from, but I've got an email drafted and information to send out with that.
Any further questions, councillors? No, and thanks for your report. Thank you for popping by. Welcoming communities next. And we welcome Mercedes. Do you have anything to add to your report?
Yes, just that the How to Buy Your First Home session was in Methven.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Todd.
Thank you. I was just interested in your first comment just regarding the Farsi school principal. Is it an actual school, or can you just expand on that, or do those kids still go to a school but they go to the Farsi school to learn their own language? I'm just interested in just have that clarified.
Yes, so the community started the school. The children go to their normal school during the week, and on Saturdays they get together and go to one of the venues here, and they learn the language. The principal is the lady who's taking care of everything.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Do you think there's going to be an impact around the closing of the Ara Polytech and not having those English speaking classes? I can see there's a gap now in Ashburton for our refugees and things that are coming here.
From feedback I have heard from the Refugee Resettlement Service, it has already impacted the service, and some families are choosing to move away from Ashburton.
Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Under the Welcoming Communities, g'day Mercedes, you hosted How to Buy Your First Home session with a lawyer and the ASB. Are you rotating that around? Like, is there a potential commercial difficulty with that?
Yes, so for the first session, BNZ actually approached us to run it, and then the second session will be with ASB.
Okay,
so we don't give preference
you are
to...
acknowledging that?
Yes.
Yeah. And how many people attended the first session?
We had about 10, 11 people, but we had hundreds of questions.
That's great.
Yes.
Councillor Gilkison.
Just going back to the English speaking lessons, is there any way that we can somehow start providing them? Because I know as a business owner it is actually important for my business. I've had a lot of staff members go through it in terms of integrating into life in Ashburton. Given the library, we want more things here. How do we facilitate that? Do you have any ideas?
So there are still English lessons being taught at the Ashburton Learning Centre. Mm-hmm. The fact that the tertiary education provider moved away from Ashburton means that the people won't get qualifications. That's the difference. But people can still attend English classes in town.
And does the qualification help? Is that for visas, or what's the difference? Why does that make a difference?
So it helps with a university entry. Yeah, and sometimes with work.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just want to point out that we do offer free English classes in the library. Yeah.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi, Mercedes. I know another issue is around driver's licenses. So how's that going? Is there progress in more people learning, getting their license, more instructors, that kind of thing?
No, there are no more instructors. That's one of the issues that's affecting currently the former refugees. Yes, so the service is working alongside MBIE to find a solution. Yeah.
And employers, are employers being supportive?
Sorry, that's probably outside what we can answer at this point.
Yep.
Any further questions, councillors? No, Mercedes, thank you. Appreciate your time and your report. Open spaces, welcome Ian. Anything to add to your report?
Through the chair, I'd like to just raise the flag on the item of the domain being registered as 4-star garden under the New Zealand Gardens Trust. That's really a feather in the community's cap for that, and hopefully we'll have some flow-on effects for the community with tourism in future.
Yep, I had it highlighted. I'm sure most of us did, to pass on our congratulations. So that's magnificent. Questions, councillors? Melis.
Thank you. Hi Ian, just wondering, is there an update on the Methven lighting project?
Through the chair, we've had some further dialogue with the contractors, and I'm just waiting to get their timeline back. There was an inspection there last night by staff, so it's still ongoing.
Thank you. And another question, if that's right. The break-in at Taylor's Stream toilet box, when I drive past the Taylor Stream and Boyer Stream, there's so many camper vans parked in there, so it's very well used, but was it a significant
Yeah, through the chair.
Toilets at Boyer Stream as well, isn't there? So they could
Yes, there
move
is.
along.
Yeah, and you're right. They usually do have a lot of people residing there overnight, which is good, and that does have generally a tempering effect on any untoward activity. It obviously occurred when the site was empty, and people were very constructive in their methodologies to gain access through the service bay at the back of the facility. So that's where the problem occurred.
Councillor Moffat.
Hi, I know there's been in the news some incidents of damage at the Rakaia Cemetery, repeated damage of a particular memorial there, headstone. Has there been any progress there of identifying the culprit and what's happened with that situation?
Through the chair, as was reported, we have had dialogue with the police on that particular matter, and it is a civil matter between the police and the families involved, given that the headstones are private assets, so it goes into the civil realm as opposed to the council realm.
Councillor Everest.
Just following on from the Mayor's comment, I mean, it is disappointing that these facilities that we're providing are not being well looked after, and Taylor Stream, I think, is a good example. Just a question I have in terms of biodiversity, there seems to be a change in attitude in terms of what's going on in the area, and are we actually using the consenting process to actually build our knowledge of biodiversity in the district? Is that what's happening at the moment?
Through the chair, the consenting process is something that our biodiversity advisor will have input into when it comes through the planning department and through that side of the council's business. We certainly use it for advocating for biodiversity per se across the district where we have the opportunity. So we will certainly give feedback that we see fit when there is a planning process in place that gives that opportunity.
Just as a subsequent, it appears that it's being used as a means of actually building our knowledge base at perhaps the consent holder's request, at the consent holder's expense. Do we think that's justifiable?
Through the chair, maybe that's a question more pointed to the General Manager of Planning specifically.
Ian?
Thank you. Through the chair, resource consent applications will oftentimes, as a matter of consideration, take into account or have to consider biodiversity and the natural environment in the consideration of them. So oftentimes there will be requests for information on a number of matters, including potentially biodiversity, but one of the things we do always try and do is to make sure that those requests are fair and reasonable. That information can be used for other purposes, but it has to be related to the matter that's under consideration at the time.
Thanks, Ian. All happy there, Councillor Everest?
Thank you, guys. Just someone came into the room while I was here. Sorry. Yes, I was listening. Thank you. I will follow up with you guys, so.
Good man. The planned community volunteering events that are coming up, do they receive a wee bit of comms? And the likes of the Lake Camp and Clearwater wilding pine removal, do you sort of maybe flip a bit of a notice around some of the hut holders there and invite them to that?
Yes, through the chair. Through the chair, there's always communications that go out to the community, particularly in that environ, and the hut holders are very proactive in even front-footing some of those wilding events, and they do a lot of work even outside of the realms of regular and scheduled and organised volunteering events. They're out there often on a regular weekly basis.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. Looks like it. No, Councillor Todd.
Just one final. Do you know when the big fish is going to be landed back in Rakaia?
Through the chair, we can feel the net getting warmed up in the next week.
Excellent. Right, that's it for questions. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate your time, Tony. And that's it for today's activity briefings. Thank you for your attendance. Thanks for tuning in at home.